Good song, doesn't make the list, but I hear where you're coming from, and I'm trying very hard to respect your opinion.
So, like most podcasts, you're trying
Yeah.
very hard to respect my opinion.
And there's your podcast open, kids.
That's right. Promo up front, money in the pit, the bullets, a full podcast.
Here comes Kirby Claus. Here comes Kirby Claus. Right down merchandise lane.
Nice.
That's right. That's how we start off episode number 181 of the Promo Upfront podcast. I am one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, let's call him the Kris Kringle of Coshocton himself, the one and
that.
only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, I think I can say this. Merry Christmas as we lead into the holiday. Merry Christmas to you and your lovely family.
Thank you, buddy. Merry Christmas to you as well. Yeah, it's yesterday we're recording this yesterday. We did our holiday Christmas party and went to Top Golf and had a nice day. But waking up today and going, oh shit, I got to go back to work today. It was a little weird. I've got a couple more days of like full-time real days of meetings. So while the holidays almost upon us, but it's still a little bit more I got to do. How are you, buddy? You doing okay?
I'm good. Funnily enough, we at Brandivate celebrated our holiday party yesterday, our Christmas party. So I got up, had breakfast, made myself a really nice breakfast. That was awesome.
Nice.
Did a little work, but then knocked off early. Watched Die Hard, your favorite Christmas movie.
Yes.
So I really had a good time. Now, I'm just kidding. No, finishing up the year, doing something I've never done before, which is I've gotten everything done, and I'm actually shutting Brandivate down for the week next week just to get some time off. So pretty excited about that, and real excited for what 2024 has to offer. And Kirby, as things often do, that got me to thinking. There's only honestly, there's like a week left in 2023, and next year's a leap year, right? We know that. We get an extra day next year. It's an Olympic year and an election year. So it begs a couple questions. Are you asking yourself what the health of your business is? What do you want to do differently in 2024 to help grow your business and meet new clients? And how many goals did you accomplish in 2023? Well, these are all questions you need to ask, and these come for courtesy of our pals over at PXP Solutions. As you know, they're an amazing apparel decorator located in Dallas, Texas area, and they do just about everything you could ever want when it comes to decorating apparel. And you know what? They're ready for your apparel decorating needs in 2024. So right now is that time for planning and working with your peers together so you can make better decisions, avoid costly mistakes, and create solid plans for business growth in 2024. And when apparel decoration is part of those plans, give our pal Bruce Jolish a call. Yep, that's right. He owns the place, and he gives out his phone number, 214-226-3105. Or you can email him at bruce@pxpsolutions.com. Together, you can make it happen.
Love it. Love it.
All right, Kirby. So I have the upfront today, so I'm really excited about this.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we have to thank a couple people for these topics.
Okay.
Number one, most importantly, Mandy Rudd. Mandy Rudd texted us earlier this week with a couple of topics, but she only gets the assist. The real expression of gratitude goes to the Promotional Products Professionals page. It is truly, especially in this season of giving, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So we're going to talk about two topics today. And Kirby, we've bantered a little bit, so unintentional, we kind of talked about it, but I think we need to share our thoughts on this. So number one, issue one, spamming product without searching. So there was a lady from apparently Minuteman Press who had received what she called a box of products from a potential client. There was about 10 of them. And she created 10 specific posts. All the products were different, but the words were the same, essentially saying, where can I find these products? Kirby, what say you?
Yeah, obviously that's a tough one because she obviously didn't do any due diligence on her own part, and doing it. And honestly, even if it's in one post, maybe it's a little bit less annoying. It definitely fills up the feed. And that being said, like, but people come back with such vitriol. Like, I get it. Like, she should get Sage, or she should get ESP, or she should do this, or she should do that. That's fine. But I also think, one of the beauties of that page is that people who are new to the industry have another resource. And so the idea that we get mad when other people want help finding a product, but not when we need help finding a product, is weird to me. I get it. She should have done it. But some folks, when they're new to the industry, they don't know what the hell Sage is. Give a little grace, give a little kindness. And, I saw somebody at one point say, be kind, and they're like, it's not about kind. I've done the work in 10 years. Well, okay, kudos. You can also scroll by and not be an asshole. Like, just don't reply at all.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's what I was about to say. You can ignore that stuff. Now, here's where I think the issue was. It was 10 specific posts.
Yes.
It wasn't just one post. So it did get a little onerous, and it got a little, I get it. I get where people's frustrations come from, but just because you have the opportunity to complain and bitch and yell and be rude doesn't mean you have to take that opportunity.
You really don't.
You could say, hey, maybe you don't know what Sage is. Maybe you don't know what ESP is. Use Distributor Central, which is now part of Order My Gear. They have a free search tool, and go look for these products, things like that.
Yeah, use the opportunity to educate. Yeah, it's
No, 100%.
The folks jump in and they just automatically go with pure vitriol, and that's exhausting.
Now, but here's the other thing. It did feel like she really wasn't affiliated with our industry. It didn't, so I do get that part of it. But again, not everything posted on social media is an opportunity for comedy. Not everything posted on social media is an opportunity to rebuke someone.
Yeah.
We all were first timers too. So maybe, as you said, a little grace, a little patience. Or if you don't have that day, scroll on by.
Yeah.
All right. Issue 2. There was a distributor that complained about suppliers not sending Christmas cards this year. And this person was awfully butthurt about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go first on this one.
Yes, I want you to. Yeah.
So my immediate thought was, you ignorant jerk. Are you kidding me? If that's what's important to you, then you're what's wrong with the industry. The amount of staffing issues that suppliers have right now during the busiest time of the year, and you want them to dedicate resources to send you a card, please. I think that's just ridiculous. This is small stuff that's not important. Yes, it's nice to get a card. I love getting cards. I know you do too. Makes you feel thought of, makes you feel special. But you also have to look at the temperature of the industry and the temperature of what those suppliers are going through right now. And do they have the bandwidth to do that? And not to mention the cost. There's a significant cost to doing that.
Sure.
Is that going to make services better from suppliers? I don't think so. And I know in our text conversation, you had mentioned something, and I want you to go ahead and mention that here.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I don't even know what I said in the text message.
I'll remind you.
Yeah.
I'll remind you.
Yeah.
You would say, so that was my main point of, man, how do you don't even know what's going on at supplier and you're upset because you need a Christmas card. Yours was, maybe they send it out to their top 100 clients and you're not one of them, which is an amazing point.
Yeah. Well, and the other, so I've actually had an opportunity. I do appreciate Mandy kind of coming up with these, because it gives us some fodder. But I was trying to give it some more thought. So number one, one of my rules is I can live without grown men complaining about not getting the appropriate gifts on Facebook. Like, I don't know that that's something I'm ever going to be like excited about. And your point about this time of year is a really difficult time for suppliers.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But here, I will take the other side of this, is just for this purpose. Okay. One of the things that this guy said was, in an industry where we preach that we should be doing gifts of appreciation, the suppliers are not practicing what they preach. And here's the thing, he's not wrong about that. And if you want to say, okay, now's a tough time of year and we don't want to use our staff to do that, what about March? What
Okay,
about
well,
April?
absolutely.
What about
But
August? What about
I,
September? Because we're getting none of that
I
shit any time of year from most of our suppliers. So this is one of those things where if I want to take a little umbrage, and
yeah,
I don't, but just for the sake of this is one of those
yeah.
things where suppliers do want to preach to us, but then they don't want to follow up with what they're saying. And like,
He,
it reminds me of Education Day in Vegas.
yeah,
You know who
yeah.
doesn't go to any education as a rule? Suppliers,
Suppliers.
right?
Well,
So,
a cou-
yeah, but they want us all to be educated. So this
right.
is one of those practice what you preach kind of moments. I agree with you. I think this is a time of year. I think it's a weird thing to complain about. That being said, could suppliers and distributors do a better job of using our medium to show
Mhm.
appreciation? Yeah, they could.
All right. So I'm going to push back hard on what you said, even though it was
Yep.
a hypothetical disagreement.
Hmm.
Number one, on the education day, that's a setup day for suppliers.
Hmm.
PPAI needs to find a way, or an ASI and all of them need to find a way to have education where it can be inclusive to all. Because I know for a fact suppliers can't get away for education day a lot of the time. They have giant booths to set up. So that's an inherent issue.
Hmm.
Now, are there opportunities sometimes where a supplier could go? Yes. But more often than not, they're setting up the booth, getting ready for the show. So that's number
Fair.
one. Number two, in terms of the gift giving and building relationships, I think suppliers do an amazing job at that. Their margins are razor thin. They're
Hmm.
not 35% what most distributors are aiming for and above. They're
Hmm.
not even close to that. And so to say that they're not practicing what they preach, that might bankrupt them. If they sent a gift or a widget or this new product to everybody,
Hmm.
it would probably bankrupt them. So here's where I would find the happy medium. I've always agreed when you want to recognize clients, partners, whatever, I've never done it around Christmas. Usually, as you know, here at Brand Weight, we always do it around our anniversary.
Right.
That's when we do it, which happens to be in July.
Hmm.
I like that idea, but I also think it's okay to say, let's look at our 80-20 rule. Who's
Oh,
spending money
for
with us?
days.
It's the same thing of, when you go to Vegas and you see distributors saying things like, I'm your biggest customer, and you look it up and they spent 12 grand with you last year.
Right.
So I think you pick either your top 100, your 80-20, whatever it
100%.
is, and that's who you spend the time on. And again, do all suppliers do it right? No. Do all distributors do it right? No. And the one pushback I'd say, this person who's crying and whining about Christmas cards, it's just a really weird thing to get butthurt about.
It's very
I'd like to see,
strange.
what are you doing for your clients? I'd really like to know what that person's doing for their clients this time of year.
Yeah.
Did they send out a holiday card to everybody who spent money with them? I mean, maybe they did. I have no idea. I just think there are things to complain about. And if the tone and tenor of that original post was something along the lines of, I don't feel like I'm really getting a partnership feeling from suppliers.
Mhm.
That's valid. If
Mhm.
that's what you're feeling, anybody's feelings or perceptions are valid. But to say I didn't get a holiday card, that's ridiculous to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
All
necessarily
right.
disagree.
All right. Hey, Kirby, I mentioned earlier that 2023 is just about over and it's time to look forward to 2024. But I'm going to go even further, and I know this shocks you.
Okay.
I'm going further. Now is the time to decide how you are going to amp up your sales in the coming year. That's right,
Mhm.
AMP. And thankfully, there's a product called AMP from our friends over at Promo Pulse, and it's going to do exactly that. In 5 minutes, you can create content from suppliers you choose. You set it, forget it. And you can watch those inquiries come in. I know you've used it.
Mhm.
We have a lot of people, listeners who've used it. It's great. There is no easier way to expand your marketing reach than with AMP from Promo Pulse. And you
Love
want to learn more? Why, of course you do. Head over to promopulse.io. All right, Kirby, you got a topic for us?
Yeah. Okay. Looking back and forth here. So, okay, let's go with this. So, Time magazine has
Huh?
signaled its intention to focus on growing events revenue in 2024. They've
Okay.
hired an executive editor as the chief events officer.
Okay.
They're going from 10 events, I think, in 2023 to 27 events in
Okay.
2024. And
Okay.
apparently the events have been a boon to the bottom line. showing a 70% year-over-year increase in revenue. And so,
Impressive.
yeah, so I'm curious about your thoughts on this. Obviously, Time Magazine is one of
Yeah,
those traditional
sure.
media companies, and the idea that it's
Right.
shifting so much focus to live events. What do you think of that? Does that it make sense to you, or is that just where the culture's moving?
Yeah, I'm so glad you knew to ask me what I think of this. I think I didn't realize that Time Magazine was having live events. So that's in and of itself, that's news to me. So the fact they're going from 10 to 27, I think is what you said, or something along
Mhm.
those lines.
Yeah,
Super. How about I had no idea about this. I have no idea what these live events are.
yeah.
So I am a complete ignoramus when it comes to this topic. Now, what I will say is this, and then I'm sure you have some more information on it. I applaud any bastion of old media, for lack of a better term, that's looking for ways to remain relevant, change, shift, morph,
Yep.
whatever word you want to put on it. So if they feel this is something that will help them remain relevant, as
Mhm.
opposed to printing a paper magazine, more power to them. I am just 100% not aware of Time Magazine live events, which makes me feel like an idiot.
No, it shouldn't make you feel like an idiot. This was the first I'd ever heard of it, and I don't know that I have a
There you
lot
go.
more. Now,
Okay.
but I know that most magazines, like your Inc. and your Fast Company and your
Hmm.
whatever, they
Right.
um they do events, and those are revenue
Right.
drivers, and so that was my take. Was exactly what your take was. Is that I applaud them for evolving. Right. That's what it
Yeah.
is. One of those things that I
Sure.
think many older companies struggle to do. So that's cool.
Right.
And then but the other thought I had was, who's the target market, right? Like obviously
Yeah.
subscribers, I guess, but what does a time event
But
look like? Like whereas Inc. or
yeah.
Entrepreneur or whatever, I know exactly who the target market is, and I know what that probably is going to look like. I'm super
Right.
fascinated by what an event from Time Magazine would look
I
like.
I wonder if, and this is kind of a tangential
Mhm.
topic question. I wonder if we're, about to reach a tipping point in live events. I mean, there's only so many live events that target audience A or B or whatever
Mhm.
can really handle and manage. I
Yeah.
mean, heck, look at our own industry. You've got ASI Orlando in a week and a half,
Mhm.
right after the first year, big trade show. And then you've got Expo,
Mhm.
and you've got all the regional trade shows, and you got
Which happened
ASI
right after.
Chicago,
Yeah.
and it does get to a point. I know last year a lot of suppliers like, man, we're picking and choosing.
Yeah.
I just wonder, I applaud Time for focusing on how do we increase revenue outside of what we traditionally have done. I love that, but how many more events do we need, like a Fast Company
Yeah.
or whatever? And maybe we need more. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just a simple caveman.
Love it. All right. Well, that was it. I was
All
curious to
right.
get your take.
So the theme today is, we're winding down 2023. 2024 is coming up. I think we should look at some business trend predictions, and
Okay.
I'm actually going to do it. I'm actually
Okay.
doing it
All
today.
right. All right.
All right. So these are 2024 business trend predictions that have been teased for months and months and months.
Yeah. By
Needed
now
to
they're
wait.
old.
Right. Yeah, these are 2022 business trend predictions. No, I had to find the right time. All right. So there's 4 business trend predictions, Kirby.
Okay.
I'd like to get your thoughts on them. If I cough here, I think you guys know I was in the hospital a couple weeks ago and I picked up a wicked cold. Now I'm getting over that. So it's a real hoot. All right. Number 1, Kirby, generative AI everywhere. To
Okay.
be an industry leader, you need a clear and compelling generative AI strategy today. Kirby, what do you think about that?
Well, it's kind of like what we talked about this a week or so ago, where, the idea that if you aren't at least paying attention or experimenting, then yeah, you're falling behind for sure. Um, now I think that with bigger companies, the idea that you'd have a
Yeah,
generative AI strategy
yeah,
is really smart. I don't know that I have a AI strategy. I think that we are just constantly on the lookout for ways to utilize the technology. Sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't.
yeah. I think you're 100% right. I think to be an industry leader, if you're a big company, yeah, you should have some sort of generative AI strategy. Probably not like Sports Illustrated's, but you should
Probably
have
not.
an AI strategy, but I think all of us should have some sort of AI strategy. I think you kind of explained yours. It's very similar to mine. I'm aware of it. I use it.
Yep.
I'm learning about it all the time because to remain relevant, to remain forward thinking, to be a leader in what I do, what you do, we have to be aware of these tools. We can't be scared of them. We have to embrace them. We have to learn them. So I agree. Number 2, Kirby,
Okay.
the skills solution. There has been a skills shortage for years, and there will be an emphasis on candidates with specific experiences and skills needed for a role rather than age, education, and I'll add location. That was not added by this came from Fast Company, by the way.
Yeah.
So I think that's dead on. I think we're finally getting away from, and I think you probably agree. I think we're finally getting away from, well, we need someone with this type of experience, or they have to have a college degree, or they have to have this, or they have to be located in Baton Rouge or whatever. I think we really are focusing on need-based solutions when it comes in terms of hiring people.
Yeah, I love it. And if I also say that I would think that that's encouraging and empowering for those who maybe didn't want to go to college or didn't want to do this. They could gain so much of that experience by just doing the work, by volunteering for a nonprofit, by like, hey, I'm gonna work on your website. I'm gonna do this. You can put all those skills on a resume and be legit. So I think that's great.
And I think it also erases that whole ageism thing. I think, you know, we've said for decades as a society, you're only as young as you feel and act and all that stuff. I'm 54. You're almost 50, right? You're 49 still.
Correct.
And not for much longer.
I was going to say for a couple weeks.
I look at pictures of my dad at 50 and I'm like, he looks like he's 80. I mean, it's amazing how the difference is.
Yeah.
Now granted, good clean living from me, obviously that's a big factor. But anyway, so I think it gets away from that ageism thing of they're too old to understand, and I think that's something that's needed to happen for a long time. So I love that
one.
Number three, remote and distributed work. So flexible arrangements, valuing employees' time, and harnessing the potential of a truly global workforce. I don't have a lot to say on that other than it's about flipping time. And you know, when we look back on what the pandemic wrought on our world, that is one of the things I think that we can always look at. Maybe that was really, it felt like a negative in the moment,
right?
But in the long term, it was really a positive.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's fascinating to kind of continue to watch organizations work back to what the ideal is. But yes, the idea of being able to tap into places that aren't like right around the street is a really good thing. So yeah, to me, that's a big win.
All right, last one, resilience. Ensuring organizations are protected from whatever is around the corner. Cyber attacks, economic downturns, environmental events, war, global pandemics, or the emergence of a new disruptive competitor. Learning from turbulent times and using it to prepare for tomorrow. This is something I think most companies have historically not done a very good job of, but I love that. And I would like your thoughts before I go into mine.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that I'm not sure my organization has done a great job of this at all times. And sometimes, you know, during challenging times, like you said, the theme is to, you know, like March Madness, survive and advance. So putting things in place where if something goes sideways, you have a plan for it it's a great strategy.
Yeah, it's almost like a formalized plan of kind of how I live my life. I hope for the best, but I always prepare for the worst. And I think that's a good way to look at it, especially with so much ransomware and things like that out there, and you can't predict all those things. So those are your 2024 business trend predictions. We've been teasing it since September. I hope everybody has thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Well, we have. Okay. Do you have another topic, or are we going right into football picks?
I do. I have a topic. Hold on.
Okay. Oh,
I want to do a top 3, bottom 3. I'm totally
I haven't done one in a while.
I know. I'm surprising you with this. So based on the time of year, so top 3, bottom 3 Christmas songs.
Come on.
I didn't.
All right.
What? So
no, bring it. Let's go.
Right, so,
I'm excited. I am giddy with anticipation. I'm like an elf making a toy. That's how excited I am.
You seem like it. All right. So I'll go the third, one of my least favorite songs, but not number 1 on this list. Number 3 is All I Want for Christmas Is You. I am so wildly over that song that I don't need to hear it ever again in my life. So
Okay.
that's number three.
I don't love that song. I don't hate it though. To me, it's kind of not in the top three, not in the bottom three. I like hearing it like the first time I hear it, and that's about enough for me. But it's not in my bottom three.
It's just because it is purely because it's overdone. Like that's
I understand.
yeah.
I
So that's
understand.
number two, Feliz
Yeah.
Navidad. Feliz Navidad is, especially the original, is just the most repetitive, overdone. Like, I mean, if I could hear it just for the first verse, I'd be good. But man, it just gets old.
Well, not only have you managed to offend Jose Feliciano, the author of that song, but also everybody who speaks Spanish who listens to our podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize on behalf of you, the podcast, and the promotional products industry. But absolutely have to agree with you. That song's terrible. Number one, Kirby, what's your number one least favorite Christmas song? I know. I go ahead.
Grandma Got Run
Go
Over
ahead.
by a Reindeer.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
terrible.
the idea that is like at some point that was just some silly song that somebody made for a radio show that somehow became a viral hit and I was listening it came on the radio the other day. I'm like, this is maybe the worst song in the history of songs. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's right up there with Pac-Man Fever for not reason, having no reason to exist. So I agree with you on that one.
Okay, so top three.
Although my least favorite Christmas song is not that song. I have a feeling that my least favorite Christmas song is somehow going to be your favorite Christmas song. So let's go. Let's get after it.
So my number three, we're going to the top three. Top three songs I want to hear every holiday season, every Christmas. Number three is Wonderful Christmas Time by Paul McCartney. It puts me in a festive, state of mind. I get excited. It is the song that makes me go, okay, it's time for the eggnog.
There is no one who loves and respects Sir Paul McCartney more than yours truly. I think
Other than
he is
me,
a genius.
apparently.
I know he's a genius. He is a treasure. However, that song is so abysmally bad. It's not even funny. And you're just doing this to draw me off sides. We all know it. I know it. And I'm taking the bait. That song is terrible and never should have been recorded. It was dated the moment it was released. It's terrible. You talk about repetitive. I'll take Jose Feliciano over that Drek any day of the week. And again, I want to apologize to all our Spanish-speaking fans out there.
Number two, This Is Christmas. John Lennon. I really like that song. That's just one of the, again, what these have to do. Earlier in the podcast, one of the things that you said was that everybody's feelings, you get to feel however you want to feel. So obviously I feel Wonderful Christmas Time is wonderful. And then This Is Christmas by John Lennon. I like that one.
Yeah, your feeling is wrong. No, I'm kidding. I like So This Is Christmas. I think it's a good song. To me, it's not top three, bottom three. Good song, doesn't make the list, but I hear where you're coming from. And I'm trying very hard to respect your opinion.
So like most podcasts, you're trying very hard to respect my opinion.
And there's your podcast open, kids.
Anyway, number one, Silent Night. More traditional. It is the song that I think brings, like, there's a story of the Germans and I think the Brits where someone started singing Silent Night. They're on, on a battlefield. They were trying to kill each other. And then all of a sudden they sung that song and it brought them together. And so I love that song.
Great song. Always the traditional ending to Christmas Eve service, candlelight. Always gives me goosebumps. So I can't argue with you on that one. I would like to argue with you on several of the other ones, and certainly Wonderful Christmas Time. All right, Kirby, let's go into football picks. Last week, I gained some. I sent you a sheet. I gained a place, so I am only two behind you. Only two behind you. It's so exciting.
Yeah, it is.
So we're doing good here. All right. So actually, I sent you the wrong one.
Oh, cool.
So I'm gonna have to pull it up. Wow. Let me go on calling it audible here. Thankfully, I'm standing in front of my computer as I waste time. And we're gonna give you football picks for good. So here we go. As Dak Prescott would say, here we go. All right, so Kirby, you went 3-3 last week. I went 4-2. I'm actually one behind you. You are 53-29. I am 52-30. I have not made my picks. Usually I make my picks in advance. I did not make my picks. So here we go. These are this is called decent bowls and playoff implications.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So
Cool.
decent bowls. Texas A&M
Mhm.
versus Oklahoma State in the Tax Act Texas Bowl. Kirby, who do you got?
You know, I don't know a lot about either team. As a side note, it occurs to me that based on work schedules and all the stuff I've been doing,
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched football in like 4 or 5 weeks. So I'm so
Yeah.
detached from this. I have no idea what's what. So because you like Texas A&M, I'm going to go with Texas A&M. Go Aggies on that.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with the bowls this year, because of transfer portals and college football is such a shambles.
Yeah.
I have no idea who's showing up. I have no idea what players showing up, what coaches. So I am going to take the Aggie as well, just because I feel like I should,
Yeah.
although it wouldn't surprise me if Oklahoma State blew them out. All right. The North Carolina Tar Heels
Okay.
versus the West Virginia Mountaineers in the best tasting bowl game, the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl. Who do you got, Kirby?
Was it North Carolina whose quarterback declared they're going to go to the draft? I think that sounds right.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I don't know anything about these. I'm going to go with my buddy Danny Rosen and go UNC.
I am also going with the North Carolina Tar Heels. I know nothing about their team other than Mac Brown coaches them, who used to coach at the University of Texas.
Yep.
Still picking them. All right. In the Direct TV Holiday Bowl, you got Louisville versus USC. Who do you got?
I got to think Caleb Williams is not playing in that bowl game. Does that sound right?
I truly, if I knew that, I would tell you. I don't know. I don't remember seeing anything that he's foregoing the bowl game, but that doesn't mean he's not. I really and truly don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick USC on this one just because.
Okay. You and I are picking the same three for colleges, so no opportunity for me to gain there. All right. Let's go to the pro ranks. Some playoff implication football, kids.
Okay.
The Detroit Lions go into the non-Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, I believe it's now called US Bank Stadium, to play the Minnesota Vikings. Who do you got?
Yeah, I think that one I'm going to go with the Lions. I still don't trust
Okay.
the Vikings, but and I know that the Lions haven't been playing as well, but yeah, I think they'll get it right there.
I'm going to go with Lions as well. Jared Goff is remembering he's Jared Goff and playing that way. So, but I'm going to go with Detroit anyway. All right. This might be the hardest one to pick. Dallas, who decided to not play very well in Buffalo. You know, Buffalo was there to play football. Dallas went to Buffalo to get chicken wings, apparently, and got blown out. So Dallas at Miami, another team that can run the ball. This is going to be a tough game for both teams, I think. But who do you got?
And where is it at?
In Miami, I'm sorry. In Miami.
No, I'm just making a point of that. And if Dallas is not playing in Dallas, I'm pretty much not picking Dallas anytime again. So I'm going Miami.
Yeah. I want to pick Miami, but we got to have some differences here because I've got to make up a place. I may change my pick depending on the next one.
Okay.
All right. Baltimore, good team, goes into San Francisco, good team. So that's at San Francisco. Who do you got?
And I think that's going to be interesting. I've heard people say this might be a Super Bowl preview.
Yep.
I think that's potential, but I think it's at San Francisco. I just think they're a better team. I'm going Niners.
All right. I'm going to go Baltimore on that. And I am going to, just in the spirit of trying to catch up. Oh man, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Vikings. I'm going to leave that Miami one. I'm not touching that because I think Dallas gets their doors blown again. I don't know why Miami would even think about passing the ball. Apparently, you can get 12 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So I'm changing my Detroit at Minnesota to Minnesota, even though I love the Lions. So I'm going to change it to there. Okay. But here's one thing you shouldn't change: when you want some apparel decoration, you need to think of our pals over at PXP Solutions. Bruce Jolish and his crew there, they're ready to help you out with any apparel decorating you need in 2024. And here's the great thing. Bruce Jolish, one of the nicest men in promo, he owns the place and he gives out his phone number because he wants you to call him and he'll walk you through and they'll create wonderful things for you. 214-226-3105. Of course, you can email him as well at bruce@pxpsolutions.com. And together, you'll make it happen. All right, Kirby, again, Merry Christmas to you, to
Merry
Amy,
Christmas.
to your beautiful daughters and your extended family. I hope it's a wonderful celebration for you, and we'll talk next week.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, buddy.
That's right.